Okay guys, delighted to say we're recording this Q&A in the Crucible Theatre one table situation, and who better to do it with than 1985 world champion Dennis Taylor. What a legend.
Stephen, lovely to be here with the king of the Crucible. You know, 7 times, you're still the king of the Crucible for me.
Thank you very much. When was the first time you played here?
1977, the very first one.
Was that the first year?
The first one, and it was unbelievable coming out here, especially when we got to the one table. It was very tight when there was 2 tables, and I played Cliff and lost, I think it was 18-16 in the semi-final. So
wow.
I've been here every year since then.
Shall I break off?
Go on then.
Has it changed much the arena, or is it?
No, much.
Just the signage
much
or
the
something?
same, exactly the same, but I wonder how many times you broke off in the Crucible.
Wow.
Somebody would know that, you know. Somebody could have left me a bit closer than that, Stephen.
That's probably quite a good safety for me, that, I thought.
I'll probably, no, I'll just play a dump shot, mini dump shot.
85 is obviously the one, and I mean the atmosphere that night, 1 in the morning, playing here, the final. Was that? I mean, what was when you were? Because you're 7-0 behind.
7-0 and 8-0, and then 9-1.
When you were 7-0 behind in the dressing room, what were you thinking? Were you thinking you could still win the match, or do you still have belief to win it?
I was just looking to get a chance because he was awesome. He never looked like missing that first session, and of course that's what he used to do. The same as yourself throughout the 90s. He was doing it in the 80s. He was very tough to beat.
It's just a matter of just getting a couple of frames on the board, and
it's getting the first frame. That was the thing. I think I stuck my finger up and I got 1 frame.
Yeah.
And but the last 6 frames, I hadn't realised that most of the frames are won with frame winning break. So I did have a good last 6 frames.
Right.
So you know, it kept him in his seat after he'd kept me there all afternoon.
And of course, that was the first time we'd seen the glasses. How did they come about?
Do you know the glasses? Jack Carnham, who commentated on Cliff Thorburn's first ever maximum break ever made at the Crucible. Jack was a commentator, a professional player, but his family business was making specs.
Right.
And he had a pair, but nobody ever seen him. He never was on television.
Right.
And I went and stayed with him in Bracknell. He said, you can get these made in a couple of hours. I said, I want you to make a pair like the ones you have. And that were the ones. 2 days I stayed with him, and he made those by hand. And without Jack Carnham, I probably never would have.
So you didn't actually, you never wore, I'm trying to think back, you didn't actually wear glasses at all before them?
I used to take my glasses off all the time.
Right.
And play, you know, and then I got contact lens, which were brilliant. I nearly won the year I beat Steve and I beat Ray Reardon, lost to Terry in the final. That was with contact lens, but I couldn't get on with them.
Okay.
And then I knew I needed glasses, but it made how I ever played with taking my glasses off is...
Really?
Because when I tried to play again, without the glasses, the balls looked like rugby balls with the astigmatism. So.
Look at this. What was it? What was the players' reaction when you first came
with the glasses?
Yeah.
First time I wore them was in South Africa, and they thought it was a joke because I put them on the table, and when I come out, you know, I went like this here, and they thought I was going to take them off. They didn't realise I was going to play with them. So.
Just made everything
was
clearer.
Much clearer, and you know the pockets were they looked bigger. The pockets.
Right.
The only thing is the balls looked bigger as well. If the balls had looked smaller and the pockets bigger, it would have been better. Oh, that was supposed to be on the pink. That. John Parrott off the cushion. Keep your head still, he said. Should never listen to John Parrott.
Oh, left there.
Oh yes, I like this one.
Oh, look at this! Look at this for a position.
That's a blast from the past.
So, what year did you turn professional, Dennis?
72, 73 season,
right?
And that's when I first met Cliff Thorburn, and we've remained best buddies ever since. So, and he beat me. We played it at Manchester, and he beat me 9-8. We had an awful lot of close battles, Cliff and me.
How many tournaments would there be in the calendar in those
only
days?
In fact, you didn't get in. The only tournaments we had was the World Championship. They had a few other tournaments, but only the top players would play in it.
Right.
So really, the World Championship, you had to sort of make your name In that, there was very little else to
Right.
win. You know, maybe the Pontins,
Right.
but there wasn't many tournaments.
And did you have to obviously move from Northern Ireland then?
No, I left Northern Ireland when I was 17 just to work.
Right.
I was good at snooker, but didn't know how good it was till I went into the local club, and I was as good as the local players. So I never played outside a maybe 10-mile area back home. But I found I improved so much in the first 3 months.
Right.
I'd made a century break.
What age did you pick up a cue?
I was only 8 or 9.
Really?
Yeah.
That's young, because like I was 12, 13, and
At
so that was
14, I
young.
was the best at billiards and snooker in the
Really?
town I came from. Yeah.
Was your dad or any or family good, or did you get?
My brother played a bit, but it was a
Right.
club with 2 tables, no alcohol or anything, so I was allowed in to watch them. That's how I started. I just was a good little boy, held the rest for them, and then had a lemonade box under the table that let me play a few shots then. Mind you, I think I'm shrinking again. I could do with that lemonade box to reach the
So would there be many snooker clubs then where you grew
No,
up
there was
then?
only just one club that opened at 6 in the evening.
Right.
So I'd be allowed in maybe from 6 to 7.
Right.
God, it feels good out here, you know.
Yeah,
the Crucible,
right. So
isn't it?
yeah, this is where you were born to play, Dennis.
Dear me.
Of course, we obviously just commentate now and everything, but it's just still when you get. Do you still get the goosebumps when you come to
Yeah.
Sheffield for the
Yeah.
World? You never lose that, do you?
Yeah, when you think I've done every one since 77, it's unbelievable. Let's see if we can get a bit of...
Oh, see if we're in the comms box, we're saying that's a little bit careless.
You'd rip that
That's
to
a little.
pieces.
That's a little bit careless. You came through as an amateur. Was it a big amateur game, or did you play in the World Amateur? Or?
Well, Blackburn, around Lancashire, you know, was a big, strong area for players.
Yeah.
And John Spencer was a big influence on me, and I got to play him in the exhibitions. He went round playing a team of 5, and he'd pick 2 to go into the big competition, but I just played 1 frame, an exhibition with him. And he helped me a lot, and when I turned pro, he proposed me. So John
Right.
was.
Well,
John was
so you needed to be proposed to be a
Oh, back
professional,
then, yeah,
really?
yeah. Or you had to win the English amateur or something.
Right.
But of course, at the time, Alex Higgins, I met Alex when he was 18.
Right.
We went back to the club that I used to play at. He won the All-Ireland snooker, I won the British billiards. So they
Right.
brought us together. And he came to Blackburn when he was 18, and I practiced, I played hundreds and hundreds of frames.
So I mean, I guess you guys then were like best mates, were you then?
Well, I
mean, we both got stories, good and bad, about Alex. But I mean, I guess then you were.
I found him a place to stay, a little apartment, and put a TV. I used to work with the companies that sold televisions, washing machines, all that stuff. So put a telly in and used to run him around a bit. But he was hard work even then. But no, we had some great matches in the Irish Championship.
Yeah.
And we were friendly at the end.
Because then you had to play that match at Goffs and the Irish Masters, didn't you? I mean, that is probably the most intense atmosphere. I mean, after this happened, guys, Dennis and Alex are drawn in the first round to play the Irish Masters, and obviously being in Ireland, the support these guys have got, but you had to come out and like shake hands at the because Goffs, it's like, well, you know, the standing bit, it must have been 6, 7 deep. And obviously all the players, we wanted to see it because you know what players are like. We just wanted to see what was going on. And God, the atmosphere when you shook hands.
You wouldn't have got away with it now with the health and safety, because it could hold 700 and odd. There must have been 1,500 people crammed into it. And I remember standing in the dressing room before, when I was looking in the mirror and just saying, you can't lose, you can't lose. And I had to win that one, and I did manage to beat Alex 5-2, but the atmosphere was incredible. But every time you played Alex, as you know, Stephen, the atmosphere was amazing, and I used to enjoy it. He used to beat me in the Irish Championship, but I eventually got the better of him, you know.
Well, when I played in the final at Goffs, I think I was 5-0 up, and it was when he'd done his leg in from falling out the window, and like he was like going this round the table, and then all of a sudden at night he got ahead of me, and then he starts running around the table. But oh my God, the support he used to get was just incredible, wasn't it?
Oh, that was the one, wasn't it? They introduced. I should have been coming out second. I was the highest seed, but Kevin Norton at the Density wanted to bring him out second, so I went out first. and I went to the wrong seat. And while they're introducing Alex, we had a jug of water, so I poured it out. I took, it was neat vodka.
Oh no. Ken worked at, he told the story on this, that he has the usher and he used to ask for a drink and it was like, not fresh orange, if it's not fresh orange, it's vodka and orange and stuff like.
Yeah, he was something else, yeah.
Oh, good shot.
Look at
Good
that.
shot.
That was an attacking shot.
So Alex was Alex Belfast, and you were
He was Belfast. I'm about 40 miles from
Right.
Belfast, Coal Island, just
Right.
a little small population.
Would there be much of a sort of snooker in Northern Ireland? Then much of a? I'm trying to think if there's any other players. That
at the time, Patrick Wallace came through, and then Joe Swale, who got to the
Joe Swale,
semi-final
yeah.
here. Paddy Morgan,
Yeah.
but he went to Australia. He was a great player.
But around the
Paddy.
same time as you and Alex, there wouldn't be anyone else, would there?
No, Paddy would have been around then,
Right.
but no, we were the two. And when we went to Australia in 1975, it was played all over Australia.
Yeah.
And if I had to beat Eddie in the semi-final, and Alex had to beat Reardon, we would have had two Irish players in Australia playing in the final of the World Championship. So, God, that was. I had to pay my own way to go to Australia as well. I used to get shows from the local brewery in Blackburn.
Right.
£20 a night for doing exhibition, and that paid my airfare. And I did shows for that brewery. They're no Lion Brewery. They were called Matthew Brown. I did shows for 15 years for them. Yeah.
When did you discover it was like you had this? You were a comedian. When did you develop that? Was it just natural came out, or?
No.
Because obviously now you're I mean the best at doing these after dinners and everything. But what, did you always have that, or?
No, my aunts couldn't believe that I finished up doing that.
Yeah.
Because when I was 17 and I came over, I was so shy, it was unbelievable.
Right.
And to think that I built up a routine. But I used to watch Jackie Ray, who entertained the people. He didn't tell jokes, but he was funny with them. So I thought, try and tell a joke and see what happens. And that was it. It built up into a whole, like a cabaret routine. I mean, the first joke I ever told, I remember learning the joke. I've never used it since. The fellow went to the doctor. He said, "Doctor, I keep losing my memory." The doctor said, "How long has this been going on?" The fellow said, "How long's what been going on?"
Because that, obviously in those days, when there wouldn't be probably a lot of prize money, so you had to probably develop a way of an exhibition circuit, and a way of supplementing earnings, right?
The holiday camps were the big thing.
Right.
You had to drive. I did 8 camps, Monday to Friday, and I would drive maybe 1,200 miles.
Wow.
But it was the way you earned your living. You know, you just travelled all around the Pontins holiday camps, and then I got to take over from John Spencer, and I lived in Blackburn, so I did Blackpool, Morecambe, Prestatyn, so that was all a lot easier. But that's how you learned. If you'd got a new gag, if you use it at a holiday camp at 10 o'clock in the morning and it worked, you could use it anywhere. So.
I don't know how I ended up here, but.
Oh,
look at this.
DK, different class.
So how many hours would you be practicing snooker then? Would the players be as dedicated then as they are now, or?
Not quite. Although if you're on your own, I could never play more than 2 hours on my own. But if if I was practicing with another professional, like you used to do up at Spencer's Club, then you could play all day.
Would there be like money games or anything like that?
Just not a lot of money. One of the players I started playing quite a bit, Ian McCulloch, who was quite a good player. He got to the top 16 at one stage. So. But I mean, playing against Alex and that at the time. And Jim Meadowcroft was a brilliant player. He was a commentator as well, Jim.
Ooh, look at that
And
shot.
funny enough, Jim Meadowcroft would have made it big, but he kept drawing Ray Reardon in the World Championship and nearly beat him a couple of times. But there was nothing else for Jim to play in, really, which was a shame because he was a terrific cueist.
And Ray in his time would be as dominating as what Steve Davis was, and then I was in the 90s.
Walk round the table, right? And he'd look at the crowd.
All gamesmanship, right?
Well, he loved it in here as well.
Yeah.
And to win 6 world titles, he didn't suffer fools, Ray, but he was brilliant.
Yeah.
When you think there's no sports psychology back then, but he I'll tell you, he used a lovely one against Bill Werbenick at the Crucible here, because Bill was playing as well as he could do. He couldn't play any better.
Yeah.
And they were playing in the morning session, and they were coming out after the interval, and they're coming in, and Ray said to Bill, I see you don't like playing in the morning either, Bill.
Brilliant.
You know, and Bill was playing as good as he could do, you know.
Would he be I mean, I didn't watch a lot of Ray back in it. There's all the balls. Would he be like a big scorer in terms of centuries, or
not?
I have a word, by the way.
Did you get one of the best safeties I've ever played in the Crucible? He would win a lot of frames with one visit, but it was his tactical game was. Although the year before they came here, the World Championship up in Middlesbrough and Manchester, and he got through and he beat Alex. I played him that year, and he played as good as snooker. And I mean, I've played you, played Steve, played Ronnie. He was awesome. Yeah, some of the best snooker. I would always have Ray Reardon in my top 8. Yeah, you know, really? Really? Definitely would have.
So let's go back to '85. I mean, what's the final session? What was the score coming out in the final session?
9-7. What was it? Got into the final.
I was 60. It'd be more than that, wouldn't it be?
I was 3 frames behind. I kept going.
Coming into the Monday night.
Yeah, I'd have been. Yeah, I'd have been 3 frames, I think. You know, I've never looked at the score at that stage. Yeah. I remember 9-7, but I kept getting close to him. I'd draw a level, and then he'd pull away from me. Yeah. And then at the end, 17-15, David Vine, and where the commentary box is there, they used to present the big giant check at 17-15. They were all waiting behind there to write.
Well, because I said that in commentary with Luca Brecel recently, because when you're clearing up, even before the frame's actually won, you can hear rustling and footsteps behind. But it puts you off.
Yeah, and they were ready for the presentation. Anyway, they had to go back to the sponsors lounge, and I made it 17 each, and we started that last frame at 10:11. And
I mean, it's incredible because I turned pro in '85, but I mean, everyone does remember what. I mean, it was just the drama was just.
I know, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the best snooker in the world for the decider, but the drama. Oh my God, you could.
That frame,
turn your eyes away from the TV. You didn't know what was going to happen next.
Because some of the safety, I remember Cliff Wilson, who was such an attacking player. He said, I've never seen safety like it. We kept flicking the balls along here thin, you know. It was, and we were both gone in the last frame. Even Steve was getting whiter by the shot, and I was getting redder by the shot. But
who is it? Do you reckon? Because I can't remember. Do you reckon the crowd were behind you more? But obviously, Stephen, like myself, with Jimmy and stuff. Would it be like
the fact that I'd come back from so far behind? They were always going to be on my side there, but nobody ever dreamt that it was going to finish the way it did. And I think when Steve, you know, that black that he had to cut in. When he talks about it now, when we do the shows.
Because you and Steve recreate it, don't you, for shows?
Yeah, we do shows. But and he says his legs and arms didn't feel like his, and a shot like that is, we all know you hit it thick under pressure, and he was thinking, don't hit it thick, and he hit it too thin.
How many people did you have were they all up in the balconies,
Yeah, they were around, and there was, that was the only one that my daughter ever came to. So
really?
That was, it was funny at the time. This is good. I've never tried this. You know, Luca Brecel, how far they have.
The long. I know.
I don't like this. I better. Maybe that's the secret.
Oh, look at this.
It wasn't the best kiss in the world, though.
What's the best final do you reckon you've commentated on, or even the best match?
Oh, well,
because you've been commentating for how long?
Way before, for 40 years. Way before.
You did ITV first, right?
No, BBC.
Was it BBC? Did you do both?
Did BBC first, then went to ITV, and then back to BBC. And I mean, some of your matches with Jimmy.
The finals,
they were incredible. But funny enough, I think I've done 5 maximum breaks, commentated on 5, and haven't done one of yours here.
You did both at the World Championship this year, didn't you?
Yeah. But I did Ronnie's with JV, 5 minutes.
Right.
I mean, that was, well, we've been saying for years 5 minutes 20 seconds. Now they're saying it was 5 minutes and 8 seconds.
Really?
But, that was incredible.
I mean, that's one of the best things in any sport in all time. tell me, Ronnie, you were probably the first one to switch hands, weren't you?
Oh, and yeah, I could play because I didn't like the rest, so I could play. Fred Davis was pretty, but only on certain shots. You know, I couldn't play a frame like some of them do. You know, I could only just play certain shots from the left hand. But funny enough, what's your, you know, all the seven wins here? What's the one that sticks out for you?
The one that gives me the most pleasure is the one where I beat Jimmy a session early, because I went through the whole championship and I played really well and I beat everyone comfortably. So for my performance, that gives me the most satisfaction. But I suppose when you win it the first, it's every player's ambition to win it, and the first one's special. But in terms of performance, I like that one. But because at my first ever ranking tournament, the Rothmans Grand Prix, I beat you in the final, didn't I?
I know, yeah. I mean,
so I remember this story because I think I don't know how many I was ahead, and I think you'd gone to the toilet backstage or something. I don't know, it was 8-5 or 8-6 first tonight, and my mum was sort of saying, he's won, and you said, he's not won yet, I think, because you won a frame. Yeah, that was 87, I think that was.
God. Talking about your mum, I remember when you won the UK and the after party, and because I used to knock about with you, boy, and you go out for something.
I thought you were going to say I'm going to use a knockabout with your mum. I was like, what's going on?
And I'm dancing with your mum because I'm thinking I'm knocking about. You don't think that how much older than you and Mark Williams and them were, and then when I was dancing with your mum, I was older than your mum.
I'll try a bit naughty snooker getting the red here.
Oh, look at this. Has he found the gap? Of course, you'd have got it anyway.
The gap was there anyway, look at this. I moved the brown, they got the gap. See. So you say Cliff's your best friend on the circuit?
We travelled the world together. Of course, you know, God rest him, Willie Thorne as well, who you were. Yeah. You knew Willie very well, but Cliff. Well, you had a lot of time with Cliff as well. Travelling around the world in Australia and India, I at times thought I was going to die laughing, and I can't tell you. You know, it wasn't him telling jokes, it was just the things that he does.
Willie, what's your best, tell us a story about Willie Thorne. I mean, I still can't believe he's not with us. What a character, Willie, isn't he?
I don't know if I could tell this, I suppose.
I don't know, guys.
I don't know whether I can tell that one or not. I thought he's going to get me sacked here from my commentary job. We drag. Talking about this place, obviously I played Willie was my first opponent here. I think 86. I'm only 16 or 17. I remember I was staying in the same hotel, and I think you guys had been playing in Irish Masters, and he'd been at the horse racing, and he turned up at the same hotel, and everyone was there, and he turned up with this briefcase. I'm like, I wonder what's in that briefcase. So we happened to be just sat round next to him. I didn't know him personally, and he was showing the people he was with, and he opened it up, and it was like something of my movies. There was all these bricks of money. He said, "Oh, I had a good week at the races." And I'm like, this is like a different level at that. Oh.
But he was always immaculately dressed as well, wasn't he?
Oh. Yeah, you've probably told it before, and when he used to come into the room and all the world champions would be there, yeah.
Best line ever. Used to walk into a room, it could be me, Ronnie, Dennis, Steve, anyone, John Higgins, everyone sat in the room, and Willie's line would be, "Who's the best player in here till I walked in?" So lovely.
Yeah, when he met people, he said, we have to shake hands. Willie Thorne, big star in the 80s. He always used to say that. He was.
Because you and Willie obviously both did Strictly.
Oh, aye, that was.
Who got the furthest?
Well, who do you think, Steve?
Okay, sorry, I should have asked that.
Twinkle Toes Taylor. No, I stayed in for 5 weeks, which was good. But Willie, And then Willie got in the next day. Willie should have stayed in a little bit longer. I think he went out maybe the second week, was it? No, and he should have stayed in a little bit longer. But 1 week, that Craig Greville Hallwood used to have a go at us, me. So I don't know why I said it, because you're live, and I said, yeah, well, it's all right for you. I said, we've got 4 days. I'd like to give you a snooker cue and see what you could do in 4 days. And he took the challenge up.
Right.
And we filmed him. JV was there, you know, like the big break, we pot as many balls as you can. 15 reds up. So we had a practice Craig, and he was all right. You know, he was knocking a few in here, there, and everywhere. Willie was supposed to be coaching him. So when they started, the clock would start when you strike the cue ball. And when we recorded it, 2 minutes, he never potted one ball. He kept panicking. So got our own back on him. Yes, perfectly on the black. Oh, do you know the lovely story about here, which David Vine showed me the letter in the early days here, because there's so many ladies and elderly ladies that love snooker.
Yeah.
And he got a letter off a dear old lady. She was in her 80s, and it said, "Dear Mr. Vine, I realise why the game of snooker takes so long. When the players knock the balls into the pockets and they're walking around the table with their backs turned, the fellow with the white gloves takes them out and puts them back on the table again." Oh, this is a shot. Now, why does this remind me of 1987, when you beat me in the final of the Grand Prix early on, but it was the other way around, and you got down and you knocked the long blue in, and that was when I thought you were better than Steve Davis, because Steve, I never thought anybody would be better than Steve, but your long game was better than Steve's. I mean, Steve's tactical game was second to none.
Well, Steve wouldn't have taken the reds out of the balls I went, because I just went for everything basically. This is
going in here, is it? You're going to put it in?
No, I'm going to cut it in.
Oh, you're going to cut it in? Oh, well.
It's like that.
Well, I mean, that's why he won it 7 times, you see. I would have played the cocked hat double, he cuts it in. Look at that. Now, don't leave that black.
Go on, let you put the black. I want you to do the famous thing. Go on. Go on. We'll set the black up. Set the black up.
There we go. I'll probably miss it.
Where was it? About here?
About something like that. Yeah, that's something like that. Let's see. I should remember.
So it was about, what was it, about 10 past 1 in the morning?
No, 20 past 12.
Was it? I thought it was 1 o'clock.
No, 20 past midnight. 20 past midnight. And it was on, because Steve in his book put it a Monday night, but it was a Sunday night.
Oh, was it?
Back then it finished on a Sunday night, not the Monday.
Oh, okay.
And after I'd twitched on the black, you know, the way you hold the cue, I didn't even hold it. I let the butt of the cue just...
Yeah, because the black that Steve missed, I remember you left it, and I remember you walking back to your seat thinking, well, that's it.
I pushed my glasses up, and I don't know what else. I thought, well, that's it. After all that hard work of fighting, you've handed it to him. I couldn't believe it. Because if the white had stopped here and I needed the rest, I wouldn't have potted it.
Right.
So I took ages, didn't grip the cue, let the cue rest on 4 fingers.
What was the noise like though when he missed? You coming at the table?
I know, it was, what did Ted Lowe say? No! No. Do you know, it's funny this year, because when I did, the other thing that Strictly was brilliant, but I did the Real Marigold Hotel,
right?
You know, where 8 pensioners go off to India. We were there for 4 weeks, and they took me to the Uti Club, up where the game was originated.
Okay.
Neville Chamberlain.
Cool.
And the club's still there, a very exclusive club, but the room is the same as it was in 1875. Obviously, they recovered the cloth, but I played with a cue over 100 years old. It was like up here, the cue.
Right.
And we got to recreate this final black in the Uti Club, where the game of snooker, and Paul Nicholas, who used to be in Just Good Friends, wanted to do this, and he put my glasses on. It took him about 10 goes because he couldn't see through the glasses. So the shot was like this, never gripped the cue, just got down. And then I was stamping the cue.
Yeah, you were banging the cue. What a moment. Dennis, what an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.